As the movie starts, we see a person named Bud. He works as a pool cleaner. Bud changing his outfit and grabbing his shotgun and wear his mask, actually was a vampire hunter. After killing the vampires, he pulls their teeth out. At that time, the teeth of vampires were costly. We see he enters in a house. He plugs a silver cable. He enters inside a room with his shotgun and spots an old woman. The woman asks, "What are you doing in my house?" Bud shoots the old woman with the gun. Actually, she is a vampire, and then she gets up. She attacks Bud. She tries to kill Bud, but after so much difficulty, Bud removes her head. As a result, she dies, and it is required to remove their heads to kill them. Later, another vampire begins to approach Bud while running, and his neck removes with the wire that Bud had previously plugged into the door. The scene shifts. We see a lady who is a vampire. With her project, she aims to build her colony, so that all vampires may live there. She'd killed her vampire friend with whom she had her partnership. Bud returns home where he lives on rent. He covers his body in yellow paint. Bud was doing this to avoid being smelled by their fellows of the vampires he had murdered recently. Later, Bud goes to her daughter's school to pick up his daughter. Watching Bud, his daughter becomes delighted. Bud hasn't told his family that he is a vampire hunter. His wife asks, "Why do you come late?" He claims that he went to a house to clean the pool. His wife says, "Come on, don't lie, these lies are the reason why I left you." She discusses selling her home afterwards, because they don't have enough money to pay their daughter's fee. He promises his wife, "I'll arrange money within 7 days." Later, Bud visits a store where he has come to sell vampires' teeth. Bud offers him $800 for these teeth. Bud needs money, that's why he sells the vampire's teeth. Later, the vampire lady who was working on the project, she arrives at the old woman's home. That old woman was her daughter, and she was also a 500-year-old vampire. While sobbing, blood started coming from her eyes. She commands her fellows to bring her daughter's killer. The next day, Bud meets his friend Big John, played by Snoop, and tells him he wants to work at Union. So help him to rejoin Union. This Union was a secret society. They dispatched their employees to kill the vampires. Bud's friend takes him inside the Union. John requests his owner to give Bud another chance. John has a solid reputation because he was an old Union hunter. The owner begins to recall Bud's mistakes. He says, "Do you realize how many rules you violated to kill the vampires? You lost your job at this Union because of that." He was reappointed for this job because of John. The owner says, "You will be fired immediately if you ever commit the same error again." His owner appoints him for day shift, means he has to kill vampires during the day. Bud goes to the counter, and he sells vampire teeth there. The man at the counter first gives cash to Bud. Later he kept the money because Bud was also required to pay Union debt. The owner informs him that he is your partner with whom you have to work. Later, they both follow a baby vampire. Bud informs him that this is a baby vampire, they cannot digest human blood. They use the blood of cats and rats as a result. Bud warns his companion to stay in the car till he kill the vampire. On the other side, Bud has murdered the vampire. The vampires appear on Bud all of a sudden. In the meantime, Bud's partner arrives and Bud asked for the gun. After receiving the gun from his partner, Bud kills the vampire. Bud has killed every vampire in the house and has collected their teeth. Bud's partner was very frightened of this. Bud informs him that everyone experiences it initially, don't worry. On the other side, the lady vampire also arrives at the store where Bud sold her daughter's teeth. He tells Bud's name. After that, the lady vampire kills him. Next we see Bud visits his house. Here he meets a girl. She introduces herself as his new neighbor. She used to be a nurse, and Bud assisted her with packing her bags. Bud has a good friendship with her. Next day Bud brings his partner to the same store where he has sell the first set of the teeth of the vampires. He finds out that vampires killed her friend after going there. He also learns that vampires have come to know his name as well. Bud's partner asks him that we should notify the Union about this. Bud warns him not to do this because he can't ever earn money if he does. They'll fire me from the job, and how will I pay my daughter's fee? I'm doing this all to pay my daughter's fee. When I pay my daughter's fee, you can complain to the union about me. His partner's heart melts upon hearing this. He promises not to tell anything to the owner or the union about this. The next day, Bud knew that there are many vampires in the valley. Bud leaves for that valley after taking his partner. Bud finds a large number of other hunters there when he arrives. Bud informs them that these vampires are their target and asks them to go. They offer Bud that we'll kill the vampires together. After selling their teeth, we'll divide the money we receive. Bud agrees, and they all enter inside to fight the vampires. They kill more than 100 vampires there. They have collected the vampire teeth for selling. In the meantime, Bud's partner is captured by a vampire, which makes him quite anxious. Bud tells him that he is so strong, that's why he fought vampires. When he learns this, he gets delighted and tells Bud, I aspire to be a vampire hunter like you. Bud later takes his daughter to a friend's birthday celebration. There he gets that vampire lady's call. She informs him that he has taken and killed her daughter. She will soon kidnap his wife and daughter as well. Bud gets concerned and takes his daughter from the party. He puts her in the car and asks her to play the game quietly by sitting there. Bud begins to flee from there because the people of that vampire lady are chasing him. Bud kills them all. He goes inside a tunnel, there is a narrow path. Bud escapes from that tunnel. And as a result, both his and his daughter's lives are safe. He takes his daughter to his wife's home. He observes that the vampire lady has already arrived. She'd gripped Bud's wife. Bud's wife asked, "What is going on?" Bud admits to his wife that he is actually a vampire hunter. After killing them, he used to remove their teeth. Everyone in this area is a vampire, they've come here to take revenge on me. The vampire lady tells him, "You killed my daughter. I'm going to turn your daughter into a vampire right now. As a result, your daughter will suck the blood of her mother. Then you'll realize how painful losing loved ones is." Bud finds his partner was bitten by them and he is dead. They attack Bud, due to which he faints. The lady vampire and her partners have taken his wife and daughter from there. After getting sense, Bud notices his companion in front of him. He claims that since he became a vampire, he now requires blood. Bud says we must leave the area quickly. Bud reached to that girl who used to be his neighbor. Bud asks why you've deceived me, and the girl tells Bud about that vampire lady. She turned her into a vampire and kept as an enslaved. She says, "Now I'm with you, and I want to take revenge on her." She offers Bud's partner blood for him to take. 3 of them later go where the vampire lady and her partners are. They killed many vampires one by one. There were numerous vampires there that they were unable to encounter. Meanwhile, Big John arrives there. He killed all the vampires with a machine gun he had brought along. Bud learns from the girl about the tunnel where all vampires live covertly. She tells Bud, "Your partner will go with me to a different place. You'll go in the tunnel to save your wife and daughter." Bud goes with his friend downside, and they kill numerous vampires there. The vampire lady's fellow informs her that Bud has arrived with his team. She asks him to go and bring Bud to her. On the other side, Bud and John were fighting vampires there. Suddenly, a vampire bites John in the meantime. For this reason, he sent Bud ahead and placed a gate there. Bud is told not to worry about him and to protect his wife and daughter instead. After killing all the vampires, he'll meet him. Bud listens to his friend and goes from there. His friend's gun runs out of bullets as Bud goes from there. He pulls the bomb tied to his dress. Meanwhile, the companion of the vampire lady comes to capture Bud. But the neighbor girl and Bud's partner kill him. Next, Bud comes to the vampire lady and shoots her. But she was moving so quickly that she dropped him. When the vampire lady was going to kill Bud, Bud's wife used with a stick to attack her from behind, due to which she gets a little injured. Bud shoots her as she stands up, but she catches the bullet in her teeth. Bud becomes shocked to see her. The vampire lady is now moving to kill Bud. Meanwhile, her neck removes, and she dies because Bud has placed a silver wire before shooting. Now the vampire lady is dead. So Bud comes out with his wife and daughter. The neighbor girl tells them that we've won this war. Then Bud takes the hat of his friend John. He gives it to his partner and asks him to be strong like him. The owner of the union was present when they all went outdoors. He said to Bud, "You have violated the rules." Bud's partner, appointed by the owner, tells him that they hadn't violated any rule. Instead, they've done all this to save Bud's daughter and wife. The owner didn't say anything after hearing this and left. Bud's wife said to him, "This was the truth you concealed. I've forgiven you for all of your lies." Now she wants to live with Bud once again. When Bud hears this, he is relieved to have his family back. The film ends here with a happy ending. Thanks for watching.